Hi, I'm Lisa. Welcome to my studio. I want to share a new project with you today. Fall is coming. I love fall. One of the things I love best about fall is pumpkins. So, every time of this year I like to make a few pumpkins for my house. This is a nice little manageable 6-inch size. And today I'm going to share with you how to make it. So, I've got 2 layers of glass. I'm going to use clear for the base layer because that makes my project nice and strong. I'm going to use this marigold yellow for the design layer that actually indicates the different parts or segments of the pumpkin. I'm using this color instead of orange because I intend to decorate this with powdered orange frit. If I start with orange glass, then I have nowhere to go for shading, because you wouldn't want necessarily have orange pumpkin with red frit for shading. We want to use that orange to accentuate that pumpkin and give it some shadows. Then this color would be our highlights. So I'm going to start by taking this scrap glass that I have, lay it on top of the clear, right on top of the pattern. I'm going to rotate the pattern, make it easy for myself. And I'm going to cut right along that line, getting as close as I can. I'm going to rotate the pattern again. Here I'm going to go close to the pattern and watch this. I'm going to go right through there. Ooh, wasn't that fun? Now glass wants to cut in a straight line. So every time we do these little curves, we basically have to take those straight lines or those curvatures and do them in a series of straight lines. I'll rotate again. Get this last little piece out here. There we go. Then I'm going to go back up here where that stem for the pumpkin is. I'm going to go ahead and cut that out right at the same time. Oh, let's see, we have to do this right there. And then cut here. Now a good score comes from your hand, your wrist, your elbow, and your shoulder. So you see me moving around there. That's me using my whole side of my body to try to maintain an even, consistent pressure with my glass cutter. So that's why it's kind of like a little bit of an exercise when you're cutting your glass. All right, now I'm going to take my running pliers, gently squeeze, try to encourage that to follow my score line. Come over here. Now when you have a really deep curve like this, what happens is the score line kind of wants to stop. And when it stops, it wants to go like this and come straight across. But we want it to go like this and follow our score line. So rather than just squeezing all from one side, I come to this other side and squeeze a little bit. I go back to the first side and squeeze a little bit. Okay, there we go. Now give it a little tap, and then that just pops right off. Now this cut is a little tricky because it's got quite a few curves to it. So let's hold our breath and hope I didn't overdo it. All right, if it doesn't work right away, I go to the other side and squeeze. Try to encourage it to go from that direction. Okay, well that was all right because it broke, but it didn't break into the area that we wanted. So I think we're okay. So now I'm going to go this way, break off this piece, go in this direction. Oh, that's a tricky cut too, man. I don't know what I was thinking. All right, rather than risk this, I'm going to add another score line right here, which you can do that at any time. Add another score line if you feel like it's not going the way you want it. And then just increase by increasing the score lines, you reduce the friction and the tension in that glass, and you have a greater likelihood for it to follow the direction you want it to go. And look, getting a pretty good shape down here. All right, now up here, I've got this crazy thing going on here. I don't know what I was thinking. So I'm going to just take it, my grozers rather, and do a little pull. See if I get that just to start. Oh, look at that. We got what we wanted. Miracle. Awesome. Love when that happens. I'm going to take see these little tabs? Anytime you're cutting glass with a curvature, you're going to end up with these little points. That's okay. Those are just opportunities for you to learn, become one with your grinder. All right, so our pumpkin looks pretty good. All right, we got some glass dust on here. I didn't bring the bench brush, so we're just going to do that. All right, now I want to get this other piece out. So I'm going to use my runners. This I'm not too worried about because they're outside curves. Outside curves generally break pretty easily. Got a little piece right here I need to get off. There we go. Let's try that on top. Now by cutting this clear at the same time, the tab at the same time as the body of the pumpkin, they match really beautifully. And you don't have much of a gap there. If you cut them separately, they would never fit quite as well. All right, so I'm liking the pumpkin. We're going to move it to the side for a minute. I've already cut up the pattern pieces, and after I cut them up, I realized some of them were pretty similar. So I numbered them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I put the number at the top of the pumpkin shape. Now this one's going to be green. I put the number at the top so I would remember that, okay, like this one could go either way. Woo, craziness, right? Let's make sure I did it the right way. Yeah, I did, okay. Got a little piece of glass on my finger. Let's get that out. Okay, so I did the number at the top so I know when I put this one on the glass, or when I bring them back together, this one goes in this orientation. So I'm going to take my marigold glass, take my pieces, my little glue stick here, apply a little glue, lay that on there. Here we go. Piece number 1. There we go. Now I could potentially, if I wanted to be really tricky, put these, nest these right next to each other. But then I have greater likelihood for breakage, so I don't want to do that. Because this marigold, anytime you get a hot color, marigold, red, those tend to be a little more expensive. So I want to be as careful with my glass as possible to make sure that I, retain or have the least amount of breakage. Now this wispy green is real pretty. I think I like over here for this stem. A little glue on there. Put that right over here. All right, and I'm going to use the stem, the grain of the stem, to work with my piece of glass. Oh, and look, I got a pretty little shadow, a little highlight there. Let's go ahead and take advantage of that little highlight right there in the glass. So let me take that away. You see this little highlight where it's a little wispier? I'm going to take advantage of that. That would be another terrific topic that we could do, is how I place my glass on material that has grain and wispiness. We'll do that one coming up soon. All right, I'm going to cut this one because it's all by itself. It's tiny and it just seems like fun. And then I get one piece taken care of. Now here, because I'm working with the colored glass, the color is always a little more money than the clear. I'm going to take a few more steps to make sure that I get that better success. Now that I've made the score lines, I'm going to go ahead and gently squeeze, move that green out of the way. Yep, we got what we're looking for there. All right, nice. We got a little detail here. I need to use my grosers. Okay. Okay, a little bit lumpy, but that's all right. We'll take it. Over here, I'm going to cut straight across and break this larger piece that we're not using away from the piece we're using. That way, if one of these pieces break, this is not, going to be risked. I can go ahead and take one of these pieces and put it over there. I'll cut this big round one first. Remember, glass wants to cut straight, so I'm using a series of gradual curves. Oop, I ran away from the paper right there. A series of gradual curves to get the shape that we want. We'll start over here. There we go. Nice. We got what we're looking for. Oop, looking good. Ooh, I thought that might be a little shy, but no, that's perfect. All right, we'll cut here a little bit. Oh my goodness. We're getting a lovely little breeze in here right now, which is just fabulous. Okay, when I'm doing this, I have a sharp spot like here. If you take your grosers, there's little teeth down here. If you take your grosers and literally drag them this way, those little teeth will scrape on that edge, clean it up a little bit, and take the sharpness off. Here we go. Hello, we're back. All right, so now I'm going to cut out these little slivers that represent the pumpkin's, I don't know what they're called, cheeks. Let's call them pumpkin cheeks. Like cheeks on, I don't know what. All right, now I'm going to do all the inside curves here. That's just a technique I kind of came up with for myself. Do the inside curves on every one of them. I'm trying really hard to go as close to that paper as I can. Now this one I'm going to do the outside one for some reason, because I don't really ever do anything consistently. So I like to try to go as close to that paper as I can so I have less to grind. Now that one wants to hesitate a little bit, so if it hesitates, I go on both ends. Now this one, look, I don't have enough material. You choose your running pliers when you have enough material the width of the glass. So like breaking something like this off is great because you get to benefit from the full width of the plier. But here, to break this off, I don't benefit from the full width of the plier. So I'm going to go to my grosers, pull that out. Look how beautiful that is. This glass just cuts so nicely. Notice how I keep rotating the pieces? Make it easier for myself to maintain that constant pressure. A good score is not hard pressure, it's just constant pressure. If you push too hard, it's bad for your cutter and it's bad for the glass. Confuses the glass, it's not sure which way to break. So you just want to be gentle with it, but firm enough to, create that slight mark in it that causes the glass to run along that line. All right, a little piece there that doesn't want to come off, so let's just put that there. All right, we're going to cut here. Do this one a series of cuts. Now, I'm actually okay with these pieces not fitting perfectly. I'd actually prefer to have a little space between them that I can put some frit. And that way the frit will create like an outline, which will identify the pieces and make it look a little more interesting. Okay, there we go, number 2. Put that right there, and look, they're fitting pretty nicely. All right, I brought my bench brush over this time. I keep my area clean so I don't get my tools in those shards. Plus, if one of these little shards is under this piece of glass when I'm cutting it, it could cause a little like teeter-totter, and that could cause breakage. So we want to avoid that. And a clean workspace, means a safer workspace. So keep that in mind. Now I'm pulling the piece up over here in this pile to keep them away from the area where I'm actually cutting. That's number 4. All right, let's go and do another little sweep. Cut the inside of number 5. Now, I decided to break this off first because although this looks narrow, I have all this glass here to add strength. Oh, it came off one big nice piece. Awesome. All right, come down here. Oh, running out of room here. Running out of height. I'm not tall enough for that one. Oh, ran into the paper. Keep going. Here, I'm going to add that one there. There we go. So 3 different scores on this one to try to achieve what we want. Very nice. If that was not wide enough to use those pliers, so we switch them up and use the grozers. And then let's use the pliers instead of my finger so I don't get cut there. All right, look how beautifully that came out. Very little glass to grind, but just enough to make, the shape a little bit better. All right, we're gonna, excuse me, take all these pieces over to the grinder. We'll give them a little grind, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I'm over here at the grinder. I've added water to make sure that it's going to be nice and wet. And basically, I want to take off whatever marigold yellow sticks out beyond the paper. So right here, and I want to change the shape and improve it in certain areas, like right here and right here. And I brought a little green stem. You can see the amount of green that sticks out beyond the edge. That's what we want to grind off. So the grinder's a little bit loud. You may not be able to hear me, so I figured I'll give you the description beforehand. Here we go. I want to make sure it's nice and wet, which it is. Now where I have glass sticking out beyond the paper, I'm going to stay there a little bit longer with the grinding wheel to make sure that I take off excess material. Now here, I'm going back and forth to change the shape, improve the shape of that piece. So here I'm just going to, there's a little bump, and I'll take that off. Now where I'm here in this area, the shape is good, so I'm just taking the sharpness off and improving the edge quality. There we go, that looks pretty good. All right, let's try this green one, the green stem here. I know my hands are in the way, but the piece is tiny and it's hard to hold on to. There we go, I think that looks pretty good. I'm pleased with that. Maybe a little bit right there. Okay. So I'm going to bring the rest of the pieces over, grind those. Then we just slide, we're going to slide the paper off. Dunk in this water. That purple residue there is from the glue. Make sure you want to wash all that off. Now this is piece number 4. I have to remember that so we can put it back where it belongs. And of course, hold on, I got a towel over here. I have a bunch of towels here, but they never seem to be exactly where I am. I'll dry that off. All right, just let that there for a sec. We'll take the paper off of this one, dry it off, and then we'll carry these over there, put them on the pattern, see how they look, and then we'll grind the rest of the pieces. Okay, so I ground all the pieces, including the clear on the bottom, And I layered the colored glass on top of the clear, and I'm holding it in place with a tiny bit of Elmer's glue. I apply the glue with a toothpick, so I use the smallest amount possible. And now the pieces are kind of stationary. So I want to introduce, I've got some gaps here, which I'm actually happy about. You know, I've got some gaps between the different pieces of marigold yellow, and I'm cool with that because I'm going to introduce some cherry red powder frit. And I want that cherry red to go in between the pieces to create detail. And I'm also going to use it to create shadows and make those cheeks of this pumpkin look nice and round. I also cut out some little tiny out of scrap glass, I cut out some little shapes to make leaves. And I've got some stringers here, which we're going to bend and make some cool little vines to put on top. So first thing I'm going to do is I have to grab a dust mask. So hold on a second. All right, I'm back. You know, we always think we have everything within reach on the table. That's not the case. Everything's within reach on every table because we have a bunch of stuff going on. Anyway, gonna put on my little dust mask to when we use the powder material. And I've got cherry red. I'm gonna put it in this nice big sifter. And first I'm just gonna sift it on, kind of heavy. And I'm going to take this brush, before I try to do the detail work, I'm gonna take this nice large brush and work that frit into the crevices. There we go. I probably put a little too much on. You know, my theory with frit is add less, you can always add more, but I got excited and I didn't do that. But that's okay. We'll figure out a way to reclaim it. No problem. When you're working with a single color, you can pretty easily reclaim it by just dusting it off the paper. All right, I'm even going to put some red up here by this green piece. Now I always have a variety of brushes handy because I'm never really sure which shape is going to work best. And in this case, this nice wide one that's really soft is working really well. So for this technique where I'm working material into the gaps, I generally use powder because it gives me really nice strong color. It's a little bit more of a pain in the neck to clean up. But on this case, I'm not too worried about it because I plan to put red on the surface anyway. But look, I put way too much on here. That's all right. We're just going to wipe it off. Because when we do the coloring, I want to be in control of that color. And I want to sort of, let's see if we can do this. Here I have an idea. We're going to tuck this paper underneath, hopefully. I don't have a fingernail. There we go. Okay, thanks, Nikki. There we go. And we're going to brush the excess material onto the paper, and then we'll use the paper to make a funnel and put it back in the container. There we go. So what I'm trying to do is remove the material from the top of the glass, but leave it in between the pieces. That one's moving a little bit on me, so we're not going to worry about that too much. All right, so get all the excess material off. There we go. That's awesome. Pull that away. Okay. We'll use this to make a little funnel. Let's see, there we go. All right, look at that. We got to save it. Awesome. Okay, now I'm going to take some frit, put it in my sifter, and this time I'm going to do a lighter application, kind of along the bottom here, around the perimeter, and a little bit in the middle. Kind of making these little fun cheeks. Now I'm going to dump that back in the container. And now I'm just going to create like highlights. To let that glass underneath show through. There we go. And that's nice and soft, so hopefully, let's see, I think I want a little bit of a highlight right here. There we are. Okay, I'm going to brush that off a little bit on my skirt here. Yeah, I like that, the way that's working. All right, so we kind of have, all right, so I kind of have some highlights here and there. kind of stronger color top and bottom. We're going to take the red off of the green stem. It's okay between the green and the yellow, but I don't really want on there. All right, can I do this? Whew. Soften that out a little bit. Bring this down a little bit. Oh, I like that. Oh yeah, I'm going to bring this up a little bit. Okay, I think I like it. All right, we're going to call that pretty much accentuated and detailed out. So I also like the idea that the frit is not real, it's on there, but it's not real solid. It's got kind of a softness to it. All right, now I'm going to take this candle. I can take this off. Ooh, thank you. Ooh, that was hot. All right, I'm going to take the candle. Works best if you don't have a breeze. A lot of times out here in the summer, we have a fan going. And if we do, we have to either redirect the fan or turn it off. All right, I have a nice, pretty opalescent green and a transparent green. I've never done this before. I'm going to try to bend them together to create a kind of twisted piece of two colors. I guess you go this way so you can see better. But I also don't want to touch my artwork and bump my frit. So I'm putting a little pressure on these, doing a little bit of a twisting. Doesn't really seem to be working. All right, oh wait, there it is, maybe. Okay, it's working. I'll put a little bend in there. So I put the glass directly in the flame and apply pressure until it's soft enough to bend and to manipulate. Oh, that one's sagging a little. Ooh, we'll just bend that one right around the other one. It appears that one piece of glass is melting at a faster rate than the other. So that's why we're having a little variation here. Let's put a kink in this. See, that one is kind of melting faster. So I'm going to wrap it around so it doesn't drip. This is kind of fun, right? All right, so now let's try to go in another direction. I'm going to try to bend in this way and see what happens. Okay, I'm going to twist here from where my hand is to try to get some action going on there. Uh-oh, it broke. Okay, no big deal. We will take this piece, oh, that flame's pretty warm, and we'll grab it with the plier because the glass is hot within an inch of the flame. So I think we can use this part here pretty well. I'm just going to have to be a little more careful to put a little bit less pressure on it because it is a lot more glass than I would be doing if it were just a single stringer. So I'm just trying to hold it with the pliers. Oh, we broke again. All right, well, we're learning. I'm still going to nest those two little pieces together. And actually, I'm going to just go ahead and, well, that's all right. I'll just melt them back together right here. And then we have something new. Instead of something different, we have something new. Okay. Let's see if we can get these with the pliers. So the glass is hot within an inch of the flame. So you want to be careful that you don't touch it. Look at that crazy little thing we have going on there. That's kind of fun, right? That looks sort of like a crazy vine. I'm digging it. All right, now I don't know if I can do any more. I just want to get these kind of closer together, and I think I'm going to leave it like that. Set that there and let it. Oh, wait, we wanted those closer together. Well, maybe we're not going to get them closer together. Oh, maybe they're just going to fall in the flame. We're going to call it done. All right, you know, we'll use this to push it. See what happens. I'm just trying anything here to get this piece with a little bit of organicness here towards the end. And I'll tell you what, I think it's sticking to my plastic, the end of my my thing here. So maybe this is a good time for a wooden thing. All right, what do we got here? I don't know what the heck we have here. All right, let's just leave that alone for a minute. Let's work on this one. So, okay, so we're learning here. Twisting two together is not necessarily easy. Another thing I like to do with these, which I've done before when I've done cat whiskers, is pull them so that they are pointy and kind of curly at the end. That's kind of fun. All right, I'm just going to try to twist these a little bit. Add a little bit of something. So definitely they are bending at different rates or softening at different rates. Maybe because one is an opal and one is a transparent. They appear to be or feel like they're about the same thickness, so I don't think that has anything to do with it. right, there we go. We're getting a little something here going on, a little twisty there. See if we can get these two to twist together, and then we have something as a combination. I would love that if that would happen for us. There we go. Okay. We're getting something there. Yeah, all right. All right, so it takes a little more patience is what I'm learning. Not always one of my strengths is patience. So, more stuff to learn. I'm going to just try to put a little bit of a curvature in this so they look a little more interesting than straight. Yeah, and I'm going to call that done. Okay, still okay here. Over here, I'm going to try to put a little curvature in this so that they're just not so straight. Maybe curve it in. So I'm just putting a little bit of pressure on here to try to get these to bend a little bit. There we are. Okay, and that's what we've got. So, all right, we're going to work with this. Well, let me just bend a few of these because we can use these kind of as extra pieces. A single piece tends to, in my experience, tends to bend more easily, and you can get a little more of a curvature in it more quickly. So we're just kind of putting a little, it's directly in the flame, putting a little bit of pressure on this, kind of putting some, just some curves in this straight piece so it looks a little more organic and not so structured. There, see how this is bending so much better and easier. It may have been because I was doing an opal and a transparent together. They often will soften at different rates. Not always, but sometimes. All right, I'm liking the way this goes. All right, now I'm going to do that thing where I mentioned earlier where I'm going to pull this and get, look how I got this cool little pointy area there. It doesn't really look like it's nature-y. You see that? The little points on there? That's fun. Okay, I'm going to grab this with my pliers. Oops, sorry to put my arm in your way. And we're going to go over here. We're going to do another little bend. And then we'll call this one done. All right, so these pieces are a lot longer than you think. Okay, that one's okay. So there's this black soot on there. That's from the candle. You don't have to worry about that. That'll burn right off. I'm just going to break this piece and stick it here. Kind of want it to look like it originates from that stem. Break this one, I'll put it here. That's cool. All right, we got this nice long one here. I'll break this one in half. And we'll do something like that. All right, now I wish I had some tweezers. Okay, there we go. And let's put this one here. Cool. Loving where that's going. Look at that long skinny one. It might be hard to see. Break that little end off there. Do you want to go in this direction? Put one here. Oh, popped off. Okay, there's going to be a leaf between there, I've just decided. All right, these we're just going to break in half. Kind of do that. That's fine. And then let's bring something down here. Something kind of over here. Okay, now I'm going to take, look at my fingers, they're getting all dirty. Now I'm going to take these leaves, we'll put one where some of these pieces intersect. I'm going to put a big one up here at the top. Oops, maybe not. Okay, maybe we have to go in a different direction. That's fine. Oh, I like that. Put one up here. Nice. Put this little baby one over here. All right, we're not going to be worried too much about this stuff moving around. There we are. And then maybe this one kind of right there. Like that. All right, well, I'm liking the way this is happening. Okay, so the perimeter here, I'm just going to take, this is on a piece of fiber paper. I'm just going to take a little brush, move it around the outside edge to remove that material so it's not right up against the glass. And it's likely we'll have to take a file to this and remove some sharp edges when it comes out of the kiln, but that's okay. All right, so we're going to take this to the kiln, we're going to put it in there, and we're going to fire it to a full fuse temperature, and then after it's fired, we're going to come back and show you what it looks like. So thanks for joining me, and can't wait to show you how this piece turns out. Here we are back in the studio with our pumpkins, and I have to tell you I'm really thrilled with the way they came out. So what happened was, this was the original pumpkin I started making, and I used marigold yellow and then red powder frit to create the shading. And middle of the night I woke up and thought to myself, oh my gosh, I know I said red powder, but that's not really what I wanted to do. I wanted to use orange powder. I was like, oh my gosh, how is it gonna come out? Is it gonna look okay? Is it gonna look good? I don't know. So what I did was I finished this pumpkin, which I'm pretty pleased with. And then I went ahead and made another one with this time I used the marigold yellow for the pumpkin, and I used orange transparent frit for the detailing. So I got some detailing in between those grooves, which I really like. I did a light kind of sifting with the small sifter. You see in the video how I've added that detail there. So, you know, this was my original intention. I don't necessarily mind this one all that much. You know, pumpkins have some variety to them, and so I'm actually kind of pleased that this one is so different. I tried a slightly different technique that kind of got, you know, I kind of got carried away with what I was doing, getting so excited about making this pumpkin that I forgot to, you know, double check the materials I was using. So that happens, but okay, I like it. So now I have two varieties of pumpkins. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with them yet. I'm probably going to work these into another piece of art. The least thing I'm going to do is put them in my kitchen or somewhere and maybe, you know, stand them up or something or whatever. But anyway, overall, I'm really pleased with the way they came out. I like the detail of the frit, you know, between the pieces. You can see a little bit more here and here. So I think that worked out really nicely. I like the greens and how that contrasts the orange and the yellow. The green on this one, it's the same green, but this one looks a little bit richer on the red, because red and green are complementary colors, so that would really make that pop. This one's maybe a little more traditional. This one's a little bit different. This one, I used the sifter to create the shadowing. This one, I used a brush to create a little bit harder line. So there's nothing right or wrong about either one of these. It's just a matter of what you're looking for and what technique you'd like to try. And now you've got two different ways to approach the pumpkin. So thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed seeing and learning how to make these little pumpkins here. It's, you know, kind of that time of season, that time of year. We love, you know, the colors, the fall season, the pumpkins, you know, are just such a cheerful thing. So thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, follow, like, all the above, share, of course, if you can, and then consider joining my premium video membership. We've got lots of videos coming out there, lots of fun stuff, and we'd love to have you on board as a member. So until next time, happy fusing!